doing this for the second time now. This is the intro. You need Fire Alpaca or some type of drawing software. You will not see my PNG turbo through the entire thing because VO2 did not like the fact that I folded my laptop, which my laptop is a folding one. This is very quick. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's hope it actually records this time. Hello everyone, it's Crypto again. I'm back with a new tutorial. This tutorial is how to draw furries, specifically cats in a symmetrical headshot or icon. The goal for today is a symmetrical icon. We are going to be working on the sketch in particular. I will show how to do lining. The first thing you want to have is a reference, and I have one here, this cat, and the way I like to start out drawings in general, before I even get to the drawing step, is figure out where all the shapes are. So I'm going to use this pink purple to color it. Well, not color it, but there's a shape here. There's the eye. We've got the nose, bridge. We got this kind of rectangle shape, which seems to end about here-ish, I would say. You got the mouth, which is another shape, so it's about here. And then you got the cheek there, and then the head itself, and then the ears, which are not bones or anything. But when you take this away, oh, wait, almost forgot the jaw. When you take it away, you get a basic shape of what you're drawing. You want it to look similar to this, in a way. I'm not going to personally use that for my actual sketch, but it now gives me an idea of where I need to have those shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and move this up into the corner. Oh, and do not use AI for your references. That is such a bad idea. AI does not understand shapes and why it's in that, like, way biologically and everything. I bet I didn't make any sense, but oh well, we're just going to continue. We're going to start doing this circle, and I'm going to try not to move my screen around too much, but I am using my finger with the laptop. So, but if you need to, there is this screen thing up here, so you can see what I'm looking to draw. So my reference, I'm not going fully based off of it. I'm just trying to do a cute, symmetrical face. So I need to start out with the eye, and I need to get this funky shape. But I'm doing a happy face instead of what the reference shows, because I personally know that I have the skill to do that. However, when you're doing your drawing, you need a reference that is the expression that you want on your character. And I have my character Max here as an example for what I'm doing. He is a cat shark, and he is pretty cute. This is from a few years ago. I have not had the time to update his ref, nor have I felt like it. So this is kind of a reason to update his ref, because why not? Anyways, back to the point is, you need to start out your eyes. And you've got to make sure they're about an eye length away when you're doing a symmetrical drawing. Because otherwise, if they're too close, they're going to look funky. Well, I've got in the eye shape, but I think I'd like to go on my other side and do this. Okay, I like this eye shape better. When you're using the symmetrical tool, if you are not already well versed in it, it basically mirrors what you do from one side to the other. So it will look the exact same on the other side. Can that be frustrating when doing characters? Absolutely. Sometimes it's incredibly frustrating. However, for this, it's actually very nice and easy because cats are surprisingly simple to draw. They're one of the best ones to start off drawing. I started off drawing wolves and dogs because that's what I liked. But when I started drawing cats, I realized how simple they are. And even when I make fursuits, learning the shapes, they are incredibly simple to make. But we're going to go have to do the nose. The reason why I do eyes first is because I have a problem with proportions. So that means if I do the eyes first, I'm going to have less issues with proportions later. However, if I do the body first, that means I have to readjust everything. Okay, it's looking pretty cute so far. And you want to follow along with what I'm doing. I'm trying to be slow, but unfortunately with these type of videos I tend to go fast. So feel free to pause if needed. And with the eyes, you can even start putting in the little iris and pupil and stuff. And it's still looking pretty good. Okay, cool. So we got the eyes. And now we can go and figure out how much length this is. This is about an eye in length. So So to figure out the eye length, I'm just going to go from here to here. So it ends about here, starts over here. Now you can have it that long when you're making the cheek, but I tend to go about half of that usually. And I have this extra layer that has nothing else on it except for that line, so I can line it up properly. And then I have another layer, which I use a lot of layers personally. You don't have to do that. So I usually go on to the muzzle next, because I need to get the cheek first, but a lot of times I go for the muzzle next. So it's a very small muzzle, but I have a feeling that's not going to look right. Yep, I was right. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down here. Small little thing. And get that little shape. Little bowl shape, I guess. And then let's go like that. And then you can smooth it out very simply. I'm actually going to add more shape to that. But not too much shape where it looks like a dog. Because you can absolutely make this look like a dog. I think that's good personally. And then I like to add the jaw right after, right down here. That jaw looks a little too big, obviously. So we're going to make it smaller. Nope, not like that. Smaller. It's not looking too bad. The jaw might be a little bit funky to me, but that's okay. And next we're going to select the eraser, and we're going to go ahead and erase some of this lovely line here. And now it's starting to come together a lot better. It looks more... I don't know how to describe it, unfortunately. I'm trying to think of the word. It just looks better, per se. It doesn't look like there's so much shape definition to it. Okay. That's looking neat. Alright, now it's looking pretty good. We've got the eyes down, we've got the mouth. Now we gotta get that lovely chin and the rest of the jaw on. So we still have this layer that we need. And we're gonna go ahead and... So it goes up like this, and then like that. We've already kind of got that down, though. So I'm going to go ahead and go like this. I don't like that. This? Not a huge fan either. Yeah, I'm going to go with that, I think. Maybe? No, actually, I'm going to go like this. Give it some nice cheekbones. And I noticed that it looks really thick right there, where the mouth is. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here and just erase this a little bit. That looks a lot better. Nice. And then I'm going to add a little smile right here. I'll zoom out. There you go. There you've got your smile. Let's see. What else am I missing? I need to fix the jaw just a tiny bit. Okay. That's looking nice. But I do think it's a little far out for me personally. I think I like... So I made my line here go a little bit more curved in towards the eye. Since if you notice, right here, there's a bit of a curve right there. And see, it's mirroring it over there. So it's got a bit of a curve around this area. So that's why I'm putting that right here. I'm going to take that line off because we do not need it at this point. If we want to, we can go ahead and curve it more. And then pretty it up. You don't really have to pretty it up when it comes to a sketch like this. Alright. Do we think the eyes look too big? No. I think it's fine for now. We can always fix that when we're lining. I'm going to take the picture off since it's a little too big. I'm going to turn... No, I'm not going to turn that off yet. I'm going to go ahead and mark where the forehead is since that's really important. And you've got a slight mark here that you can put up already if your circle that you've made earlier for your sketching is nice enough for it. If that makes any sense. I bet that didn't make any sense. Oh well, we're still going along. If none of this makes sense, you can still follow the drawing itself because you can tell what's happening on the screen. Okay, let's get the photo back up. We're going to work on the ears. They're not quite fully sharp triangle-like, but they're pretty close to it. And there's also that inside bit here where the skin is that's not furred. And then you've got this little furry bit here, and that is to protect the ears, typically. And then we're going to go ahead and do those ears. You can start on whichever side you want. I think I'm going to go actually on this side and do something like this. So his ears are... I like them, but I'm going to add this little bit here. Boom, we've got ears. And we can go ahead and put that little shape there. And go like this and this. Boom. We've got our ears. And they're looking pretty good. We also need to not forget to add the cheek fluffs. So let's go ahead and add those in. These are pretty simple. You can do them without looking at the reference typically, but if you need to, you can always look back at your reference. So let's go ahead and go like this. Boom. Cheek fluffs. Whoop. I'm sure what just happened is going to be edited out by me in the future. I accidentally knocked over a Coke can, and it almost spilled onto my laptop. Anyways, let's get back to this. So we've got our cheek fluffs. Now let's go back to our ears. We can add a little bit of fluff on the ears right here. And when I'm doing that, I always make sure there's some gap for it to get into there. I don't know how to pronounce. Okay, where was I? Right. Taking away that one line at the ear right here. We're going to take that and make it so that little fluff connects. And I'm going to go ahead and move the cheek fluff layer here down to here and connect it there. I'm also going to make sure I erase this little bit on the other layer. And I'm going to go ahead and... oh, whoops. I'm going to go ahead and try not to erase the eye, but erase this little bit here. Alright. We got that, and now we need to add the eyebrows on there. I'm going to do that cute little eyebrow shape. It's looking adorable. Alright, so we got a cute face, and it's looking very, very cute. So I'm going to go ahead and combine all those together because I don't see any issues with it. I'm going to turn off that layer. Oh, look at him. He's looking cute. Now, if you want to do a hair tuft like how Max has here, you can go and do this, basically. And do it this way and erase it. Which doesn't look so hot right now, but it would look like a mohawk, basically. Or, what I do is put a little mark indicating where it needs to end and start and everything. And his hair goes like this, kind of. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to block off his eye, unfortunately, for that. And I'm going to, just because it's blocking off the eye, I'm actually going to move it around. So I'm going to use the select brush. Well, not select brush. I don't even know what that is. It's just select something and move and make this hair way smaller. So that you can at least see partial of the eye. And so I'm going to go ahead and erase this bit here then, because of the fact that that hair is now smaller. And I don't want to have the eye and lining and everything together. There we go. It's looking pretty cute. I think actually I'm going to do this little thing where you go like this because of how I plan to actually color him. And so we've just got the head, but we can go ahead and add the neck too, just so it doesn't look so silly. And so when I'm doing a neck, I like to do it another layer, of course, because I'm a huge fan of layers. And I typically... okay, I've got the shape that I want. It was actually surprisingly quick. And then I'm going to put a lovely little eye thing in the middle of this. And then I'm going to go ahead and erase that eclipse. And go like this. And then let's check what it looks like. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. And so I'm going to merge that down, because apparently I put it on a different layer, and I hadn't actually meant to do that, but here we are. And I keep the eyes on a separate layer always. That's just a thing that I do, personally. Because the rest of it, I like to have separate, just in case there's like something that I don't like in the end, and I can just fix up the eyes later. And I'm going to go ahead and do one of the eyebrows. Well, not one of the eyebrows, the eyebrows. And if you need to, you can always just turn your screen. I had to, and it's looking pretty okay. And we can go ahead and do the nose. A more rounder shape. I personally like that actually a little bit more than what I had on my actual sketch layer, which is why lining is so great, is because you can do it over again, and then you can have that second chance if you want it. Again, once you had your sketch finished, you do not have to finish this video if you don't want to. That is totally up to you, but I'm going to keep going ahead and showing how to do this. And it's quite simple. You just do this the entire time. I'm probably going to skip a lot of this because it's basically tracing over your entire drawing. Personally, that I usually add on, I totally forgot to this time, is this little fluff thing that I do here. And I'm going to go ahead and take off symmetry for the other side of it. There we go. There's the little fluff that I add. Okay, so you can put everything down now. And I'm going to personally color mine, which you don't have to do that, but I like to do it. Whoops. So I will go like this, grab the selection tool. Boom. Nothing is seemingly like going into the lining where you don't want to be it. That makes no sense. I don't know how to describe it. Oh well. You can see what I mean. There's no white lines. Ah, that's what it is. There's no whiteness appearing here. So now you can go inverse, boom, and when you see this whiteness on Fire Alpaca, that means you can color inside of that. So I'm going to go ahead and go like this. I don't need to do that. I put gray so that I know what the colors actually look like in a way, without all that light and darkness showing in, like shadows. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So in this one, it looks like the green, is that green? No, that's blue. It looks like the blue is really, really, really dark. But there's a chance that it's not actually that dark. However, the way to check this is when you use a gray background like this. So it is actually kind of dark, but it's not as dark as it looks right there. And your brain will play tricks on you with that one. So this can be a slight redesign for this character of mine, and I'm using him for this. You guys can use your own characters, obviously, as stated earlier, but I'm using him. However, you guys may not use my character as your character for this. It has to be your own character. So I like that color. And I don't know what cat I was basing him on. I mean, he could even be a dog, but I can't tell, actually. I wonder if I put it in here. Lemon. So clearly he's a lemon shark of some sort. But he looks like a cat, I would assume. I guess he's a cat. I really think he's... Okay, weird. Well, that's a random side tangent that I just went on, but oh well. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a cute little, like... that one marking. I don't know what it's called. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that one marking that I don't know what it's called. No, I'm gonna go like this. And I'm gonna fill that up. Like that. Do I like that? I think I do, but I'm not sure about it. I think I want it to be like that. Yeah. I think I like that, personally. And then I'm gonna do a jaw. I'm probably going to edit out the rest of this. So editing me, I will come back after this is all colored in. Alright, so I'm done coloring. If you decided to color, you should be about the same step that I am at currently. So I have colored the eyes, the ears, the nose, literally everything. So I'm going to put all of this into a folder together, and you should do this too. So now we have that. And we can go ahead and put this down to about here. I'm going to turn it back to white so that you can see the actual lines, and I recommend you doing this too. So now we're going to go ahead and select that black line of ours, and this is the lining. I wasn't originally planning to do it in the video, but I decided that because I'm on a roll, I'm just going to do it anyways. So we have to figure out the lining size. How big do we want that lining? And personally, I think I just found it right here, which is 10.3, for me at least, with this drawing. You don't have to do it that way, but if you want to, you absolutely can. I was someone who used to draw with, I believe, if I'm correct, about this size, and this is how tiny that is. which unfortunately means that you're going to have a lot of issues when it comes to lining because you have to be quite literally perfect at it. You have to be perfect. With bigger lining, you really don't have to be perfect. So we're going to go ahead and do the eye. Again, we're going to literally just basically trace over our sketch, and we're going to do this the entire time. And I'm going to try to get this eye right. There we go. And if you don't like where it's positioned, you can go to this button if you are on Fire Alpaca and just press the buttons up there if you want. You don't have to, but I'm going to. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that same shape again here. And keep in mind that I'm going to keep doing these layers, but you do not have to keep doing layers. You can just literally use one entire layer if you want to for lining. It does not matter at all. It is fully up to you, and it actually can tell you what your style is going to be like. Boom. That is the eye shape. There we go. And we can use the last tutorial that I made for eyes for this. However, I'm not going to shade them or anything, and this video doesn't focus on shading. But we can still use the lovely shape thing up here with Super Eclipse or Eclipse. I'm going to use Eclipse, I think. And I'm going to try to get the shape right in this. I'm probably going to struggle for a little while, but I will come back to you once I get it right. So while I'm doing this, I do want to note that when you want to make sharper lines, and your lines are super thick with this, you can go ahead and go erasing to make those sharp lines. And while I'm explaining this, for some reason I'm having issues. Usually I don't have issues, so that's kind of hilarious actually. But you can go ahead and just erase the line a little bit, make it nice and sharp. Sorry if the video is glitching out a little bit. I don't know what's causing it to do that right now, aside from maybe lag. But this application does do this. Oh, right! That's something I need to remember to do and say. Save your files. I'm going to go ahead and save mine and name it as Max. You can save yours as whatever. If you're on IBS Paint X or Procreate or some type of mobile app, you probably don't need to do this step. But when you transfer over to computer or laptop, you do need to automatically save it as you progress. It will not automatically save for you. You need to do it yourself. Alright, I saved it. Make sure you guys save yours, and let's continue. Another thing I do want to mention is that when you're doing fur, you should not do small little strokes like this. Unless your style specifically is like that, where you do that, what TikTok likes to call chicken scratching. You do not want to do that. If you want to get long, smooth, fur line looking things, you go one stroke with your wrist, and you use a lot of your wrist and put it into this. Because if you hold your wrist very stiff, you're going to get those little things like that. You're not going to get those smooth lines. What you want to do is let your wrist glide with it, along with using your arm in this. When you only use your wrist, you get that chicken-like scratching strokes and lines. I'm sure I'm making sense, or not making sense. Oh well. At least I'm trying to explain it, and that is okay. When you are doing your lining, make sure to always check that it looks alright by going like this. If you like it, keep going, continue. That is fine. If you don't, you're going to want to stop and figure out what is the problem child. I think I'd like to have my mouth for my cat here to be like more in like this. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that little bit and line it up more. Like this. See, I think that looks more cuter, personally. Yeah, it looks more cuter to me. And I'm going to go ahead and fix the jaw a little bit. And again, your line art does not have to be perfect. That is an absolute misconception. Your line art can be however you want it to be, really. It does not have to be perfect, smooth lines. I already can tell there's not such perfect lines here, but I don't mind that, because I've grown out of that personally, and I was taught that a lot. Oh, you've got to be perfect with your lines. No, you do not. You do not need to be perfect with your lines. Just as a heads up, your line art may change a lot from what your sketch looked like, and that is also okay. You can always restart it if you don't like the look of it, and that is totally fine. This is more of a stylistic choice, but I'm leaving that eyebrow in there because I think it looks pretty neat. And then, again, when you're doing the coloring for this, and I personally turned the eyes back into the whole layer thing, you will want to select this brush tool, go ahead and go up to select, and then inverse. And there you go, now you can do that. And I'm going to go ahead and color mine, and we will be right back after this and continue on. Aha! I forgot to mention one simple thing. When you want to do the coloring, I personally put the sketch layer over this little layer that you've now made for the coloring and background, put clipping on. And I'm going to go ahead and make a new color palette thing. And I'm going to turn the colors up. I'm going to yoink my character's colors right here, put them in there. Boom. Let's get that other blue. There we go. That light color that I'm going to go put in there. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in there. I don't typically name my colors for this, but you absolutely can. And then let's get that yellow in there. He's very sandy, oceany feeling. Okay, so now that we got the colors, we can put it right back down, and then I like to put extra layers. And I go ahead and go like... if it's going to let me do it. I go ahead and go in with the second color. Not the most lightest color, but also not the darkest color. And I go ahead and go in and put things in like this. I go over top of it. And it makes it very simple for when you put the actual lightest color down there compared to the darkest. And I can always, like, do this around the darkest, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave them be. But I'm going to keep doing this middle color here and get it in there. And I'm actually going to put the blue probably as a top layer color compared to the brown that I'm putting in there. And so don't forget this up here. I don't want to forget that, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And we can actually take that layer off, and now you can see how it's forming and everything. Cool. It's looking good. I want it to touch this part, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Go like this. Boom. And now you've got that color down. And then we can go ahead and put the top color and move it so that it's in the middle. That dark brown, I'm going to move this and put this all the way up so I can get this nice little circle here. Move it down again. Go like this. Get those spots. And then I'm going to go ahead and color this little bit in. I'm not super worried about it being on the non-symmetrical area, because we can always just color that over. And then if you want to get the big areas, you go ahead and put that little thing down there. And use your lovely bucket tool like that and that. And since now you have those dark colors in, you can go ahead and put your medium colors in like you were earlier. But this time, don't do what I just did there. I mean, it's not going to do anything, but you can start filling everything in. Very simply like that. And I'm going to go ahead and actually manually put them in here, since it looks kind of funky, and it looks like it's going to struggle with the bucket tool. Cool. You've got your colors in. Let's see, am I forgetting anything? Nope, doesn't seem like it. So now you can go ahead and take your big brush and go, oh, look at that. Oh, so cool, so special. Super cool. And yeah, that's it for that part of it. Cool, you've got your nice colors there. So now you can just go back over here, get your palette here, and I added another layer and put clipping onto it. And go ahead and go after that. Bucket fill that. I want to check what colors the eyes are. And I can take this off. Okay, it's that dark blue. And I know that this was that lighter blue. And I can just boop, bucket fill basically the entire thing. And when it comes to non-symmetrical things, you can use this lasso fill and it fills up those areas that you want to be filled up without having to use the bucket tool, so you could be more accurate and make sure nothing gets out of the lines, basically. And boom, you've got that. Let's see, I don't remember what the eyebrows looked like, so I'm actually going to turn off all of these little layers. Okay, so they were light blue. They were very light blue. So I'm going to actually do the lasso tool because I'm a bit too lazy to actually use the bucket tool. Boom, you've got your light blue. Now you go another clipping layer, and you can go ahead and just bucket fill these areas, and then this area, and this area. And then you need that yellow, which you can keep on this layer, which is fine, because after we finish that, like that, we're going to go ahead and put all these colors down. And boom, you've got it mostly done, except for I forgot to put the nose color. You should put it too if you forgot it. And now you're done. You've made your cat, Sona, furry, whatever it is, and you've made it, and it's done, and voila. I hope this helped. If it does, please like and subscribe. I am in the need of subscribers. I think everyone is, actually, but it would be very helpful and I would be very grateful. I will probably do another type of giveaway or art challenge once I hit 200 subscribers or higher, who knows. So yeah, and this is the character Max. He now has new redesign, so he looks like this previously, so now he looks like this. And I actually might change his species to be a Kawadi, or a Cody. No, it's a Kawadi. A Kawadi Mundi mixed with Shirk, because I think that would be really adorable. And then he can have a buddy, who I already have named Michael, and he's a suit. And boom, he's gonna have a buddy. Obviously, they're not a real character, but it's fun to imagine that. And you can see that the colors have completely changed and everything. I might do a video on how to get good colors for your characters. I just need some suggestions on what to do. And I'd also like to know what type of character I should do next, and like species, because I did a cat, but I think I'm going to turn him into a Kawadi Mundi, or however you pronounce that, because they're very cute. But also now he has a cat and Kawadi version. Wow, I'm very tired at this point. I'm very tired. There might be some bloopers in this. I don't know. This has probably turned out to be like 30 minutes of recording, but hopefully the video is less than that. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this one last time. Alright, now you've got your cat character. So that's cool. You completed a drawing. Give yourself some claps or something. Yourself a candy, give yourself something of any kind of reward, really. I'm gonna go ahead and put this guy up in my toy house, this design specifically, but your drawing should end up somewhat like this. I hope you all have a good day and a good spring break, if you have spring break right now, or in the next week. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video, probably.